Wow, it's an actual tune. Written by the great Lenny Tristano. I'll link the tune in the description. You should definitely go and check it out. Particularly the bridge is insane. So when I first heard this, I was like, is that even humanly possible to play this thing? I don't know. Well, let's see if we can find out. Um, so go check it out. It's pretty remarkable. I mean, this thing was recorded a long time ago. I've been a long fan of Lenny Tristano's music for many reasons. Mostly though because of his phrasing and rhythmic displacement. So it's his music sounds so fresh even to this day. So definitely go check out some Lenny Tristano if you are looking for an adventure. But really, I wanted to know, is this tune physically possible to play for me personally? And when the pandemic started, I set a goal to try to figure this thing out and see if I could execute it. And the answer is no, I can't do it. Not at the tempo that they do it at. They're at something like 170 or 180 BPM. I'm at my metronome at 150 and I barely got through it. It's pretty sloppy, but doesn't really matter. This isn't about chops and that kind of a thing. It's about articulation, phrasing, fingering, picking, like what can be taken from this experience. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. So the first thing for me was fingering. And any of us guitar players know that we have the ability to play the same note in many different places on the fingerboard and many different fingers to play those notes with. So how do you decide? Well, it depends. A lot depends on what comes before it, what comes after it, what's the tempo. There's a lot of factors that go into figuring out where is it best to play any given line. So that was a major consideration. Another one for me was how to articulate, from a right hand perspective. So we have the left hand perspective in the position we play and how we finger. The right hand perspective is how do we articulate this phrasing, these flowing lines, that are just seemingly endless. How do we articulate those? And from a picking perspective, I traditionally came from the background of alternate picking, right? Alternate everything, down up, alternating down up strokes all the time, no matter what strings you're on or all this sort of thing. And that I realized years later was pretty limiting, especially at higher tempos and more complex lines. There's a lot of movement in the right hand, it gets real sloppy. So rather than developing or attempting to develop that further, I hit kind of a brick wall with that. So I said, how can I get through this? So I started with really like 3 note per string, typical scale type work, where I would like taking an A major scale, for example. If I would traditionally play down, up, down, and then on the next string, since I'm being strictly alternating, the next string would be up, down, up. So down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, right? But at a certain tempo, that if you watch the right hand, it's choppy. I can't do it anymore because I've abandoned that technique. What I do now is down, up, down, and then when I move to a next string, I repeat a downstroke, so 2 downstrokes in a row, only between the strings switching. So down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. So this feels very different because it's really a little bit of elbow movement, right? I have down, up, down, and then I'm pushing kind of very slightly elbow, wrist to get the next downstroke. And that is a lot less motion for the right hand, a lot smoother, and it takes a little while to get the feel of it, but for me it like really helped open the doors to get to the next level of proficiency. Now on the way on descending through a 3-note per string scale, one of the things I discovered is, because I used to traditionally just always begin on a downstroke and then alternate from there. That doesn't work either. So here I begin with an upstroke, so up, down, up, and then switching between strings, I have 2 upstrokes in a row. So it's very similar in that ascending up the strings, I have 2 downstrokes in a row. Descending, I have 2 upstrokes in a row whenever I switch strings. So I get this. So again, pretty economical from a right hand perspective. So that's one of the things I've learned from trying to play some of these high tempo tunes. That's very cool. So the articulation though, like the phrasing, like again, go listen to that tune because it's so incredible, and how there's these accents and what I am going to call ghost notes. There's some notes that are like they're there but they're barely there. Like how do you do that? How do you play these notes that are almost like they're so low from an articulation standpoint? And from as a guitarist, we would use legato, potentially hammer-ons, pull-offs to do some of this stuff, but it depends on what the phrase is. So what I would recommend if you're up there trying the bridge of the tune Wow, take each individual phrase separately. Like the first thing is it's all 16th notes pretty much. E flat, F, G, B, and D. Like where can you play it? Like many different places, right? Now to get that tempo, it's got to be like going from E flat to F on 2 different strings here. For me, no way. It's not going to happen. Not smoothly. So that's why I ended up with this. I picked the first note, but hammer on the next 2, and then do like a sweep picking between the other 2 notes. That's the first phrase, and then it's the same phrase down. A couple of things that are very cool to, like this line in particular, I wanted to call out. I'll play it very slow. Now, that's the line, but what comes next is a D minor 7 arpeggio. So you could play that in a few different places. But coming out of this, it's so fast. What I wanted to do was end on that D natural, which is going to begin a sweep picking of the D minor 7 arpeggio. So there's that kind of those ghost notes that I was referring to. They're there, but they're so fast that you're just hinting at them. So you want to be able to work these things out slowly to figure out how to get from one phrase to the next. Does it make sense for me to use, alternate picking or some combination of hybrid picking or whatever? Like it's really about possibilities and discovery. So I thought this would be very helpful to take a look at and to suggest. This is one. This is a very difficult one. But any of these older bebop tunes, I mean, personally, I'm not that interested in playing bebop per se, but there's a ton to learn from it. So definitely check out some of these Lenny Tristano tunes, and I think you'll really get a lot out of them as I did. Good luck.